spoke exclusively to the former ISIS bride, Shamima Begum, who told us that the government, quote, clearly don't know what they're doing, unquote, in their fight against terrorism here in the UK, and that she said she should be allowed to come home, face the British justice system, if necessary go to jail, and she said she would cooperate with the intelligence services here and tell them everything she knows about ISIS and name names. So will the government listen to her pleas to come back here? The Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, joins us now. I don't know how much, if any, of the interviews you saw, Mr. Javid, but that's a summary of it. Is there any prospect that the British government will change its mind and bring Shamima back here and put her in the dock?
I didn't see that interview, I'm afraid, but I did hear you just a moment ago about your penchant for throwing cabinet ministers off the air, so I better...
How have you not seen that interview, mate? I'm sorry. How have you not seen it? I'm sorry, mate. I think you've seen it.
I better answer that question, okay. Even though I'm the Health Secretary now, not the Home Secretary. But nevertheless, look, I made the decision around Shamima Begum at the time. I can't get into the details of any individual case, but obviously when you make a decision of that type, you don't do it lightly. And it was based on the advice of my department, but also our intelligence agencies. And I'm clear that it was absolutely the right decision to protect the British people.
Yeah.
I think actually...
I agree. I agree with what he's saying wholeheartedly. I think that, you know, after what was shown yesterday or the day before, you know, she's all dressed all westernized. And this is someone who wasn't westernized at all. She's dressed very westernized. And, she, you know, she's got a knockoff Nike cap on, a tank top on, a wig on, you know, acting all westernized, I guess. But I think also at the same time with what she was saying that, you know, she was saying, oh, like, I think I could come back and help you out. Yeah, maybe we do need help. Maybe we do need help. But you saying that you're going to help this country out, don't make me laugh, because you've gone to join ISIS saying you think that we need help. I think the latter. I think you need help. You know, anything that goes, I'm a British guy, right? I'm a British guy, but so anything that goes against Britain in my eyes, it's never a good thing. As much as Britain sometimes winds me up and all that, I still support this country 100%. I'd say I was born in this country. I'm 31 years old. I was born in this country. I've lived here for 31 years. Why would I not? You know, if you know when England are at the World Cup, I want England to win. You know, it's things like that. Patriotism, the whole 9 yards, right? That being said, that I understand that some people in this country are English, are British, and you should just leave them alone. I think you should leave them alone. If they're born in Britain, they've got a say. Leave them alone. They've got a say, mate. Okay, they've got a say. And I know that's very sort of wishy-washy here with certain members of the English people. They go, oh no, it shouldn't be like that. They weren't born English. They weren't born this, and very much like that, which I don't really agree with. But there's a lot of it. I don't know what to say about that, but I don't agree. I really don't agree with that. But you know, this being said, it seemed like the video that I saw of her when she was all westernized, it seemed like a ploy. It seemed like a lie. It seemed like it didn't seem real. It didn't seem real to me. It seemed like she was being told what to say somehow by ISIS. I don't know how, but and the reason I say that is because I'd say in my lifetime, 31 years of living, we've let the ISIS organisation over to this country, and it's never ended well. Not once has it ever ended well, I don't think, from what I know. And we still do it. It's something we still do. It's something we still feel like we need to do for some stupid reason. I think it's a stupid reason. Weird reason. I think one of the reasons that we do it is because we were horrible people back in the day. And let's talk facts, right? We were horrible people back in the day, and I know that, right? As a country, years and years and years and years ago, we invaded, we wanted this, we wanted that, we blah, 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 we're England, we can do this. I understand what we were like. From what I've heard, history and all that, I've heard horrible things. But there comes a point where I think we should be able to go, that was years ago, and we're not like that anymore. That's what I think. Whether you people think that we still are, as a nation, as a country, I don't think we are. I've lived here for 31 years. I don't think that we are anymore, right? It's not what I think. After all the people that we've let come over, and we let a lot go now. We let a lot sort of go, because I think we all know what we was like back in the day. Britain, not me, like Britain back in the day. I think we know what we were like. And so, yeah, I feel like that's what's going on. And, yeah, for no reason, I don't think we should let her back at all in any circumstances, but we'll carry on.
Richard and Susanna, if you were the Home Secretary and you were presented with the information that I had at the time, you would have made exactly the same decision, because your job as Home Secretary is to protect the British people. Yes. And as for coming back, that's gone up to our highest court in the land, Supreme Court. They made a judgment where they supported my decision unanimously, and I think it's pretty clear-cut.
But that was then.
I agree.
And here we are now. Do you think that basically people, it's kind of once a terrorist, always a terrorist? Or, I mean, is she basically forever going to be stateless? Do you think that that's what she deserves?
Well, as I say, you know, I can't get into the details of this particular or any other case that I've dealt with as Home Secretary, but I am clear that the decision is both morally right, absolutely right, but also is legally correct, and it is the right one to protect the British people, because that should be the concern of every minister, but certainly the Home Secretary is to protect the British people, and all decisions should be consistent with that.
Well, you certainly wouldn't be playing...
That is true. I like this guy and what he's saying. That's a weird thing to stop on. I agree with what he's saying, 100%. I know he's part of, you know, the big picture being, what's it called again? Boris Johnson is part of and all that. I know he's part of that. I forget what it's called, but I know he's part of that, right? And a lot of people in that sort of like position, we don't usually trust them. They say this, they do something else. It's always been like that, right? I understand that, but I still think at the same time that what he's saying rings true, and you know, it's very, very honest what he's saying. I like to think he's honest. But yeah, I do agree. I don't know what else to say. I do agree with this guy at the moment.
The public gallery, if you did allow her back into this country to face trial, because as I've been saying through the programme, we've had an overwhelming negative response to that interview. People hate her. They actually hate her. I think that's an accurate word to use.
That's a decision for people. For me, it's never about that kind of emotion. It's just about doing the right thing with the information that you're presented and just taking your job seriously.
But you don't think there's ever going to be room to reconsider what the person she is now, as opposed to the 15-year-old she was when she went out there?
That's not for me to say now. That's a decision for the current Home Secretary. But as I said, I think the decision was the right one, and I think the British people should be protected at all times to the best of the ability of ministers.
100%, mate.
Can I just
That's what matters over everything. The British people should be protected over anything, because who wants to die? For one, who wants to die? No one wants to die. If you know that there's a chance of you dying, and just a chance, you're going to go, well, I don't want that. Obviously, I don't want that. So no to the latter or whatever.
Then that the reason that you maintain your position is because you believe that she is a security threat. Do we not have the security which would enable us to bring back a very high-profile individual and put her on trial? Because it feels as if the quality of our justice system should be able to test her claims?
Well, again, I don't want to talk about the detail of a particular individual, but I would say this, is that when someone leaves the UK, full of hate for the UK, and goes out somewhere in this Syria, let's say, to kill innocent people, that it's very hard to gather evidence. That I think people can understand why it would have been hard for the UK authorities to gather the evidence that might be necessary for a court. So you have to use the tools that you have in the box. I'm not pretending they are perfect in any way, but you have to use the tools that are available to you as a minister to protect the British people, and that's what matters. And you have to listen to the experts, especially our world-class intelligence agencies, the best in the world, with the information that they've got. And that's what I think any minister should do.
And I know that people watching will absolutely agree. And you say you won't talk about an individual case, but we have allowed hundreds of former ISIS fighters back to the UK. Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And it seems, even though you say you won't talk about one specific case, it does seem as if we're using Shamima Begum as an embodiment of what of our hatred of ISIS. But we have to acknowledge she is being treated as a special case.
That's not the case at all. There are a number of people, well over 100, and that's a public number of people that
don't usually agree with her, but
their
that's
citizenship as a last resort to protect the UK. So she's not a particular case. She happens to be someone you're talking about now because you specifically had your team go out there and look for her, and that's fine. You can do that, but you could have also found others if you tried. So it would be wrong for you to suggest that it's a particular individual case.
Are 100 other people left stateless by being stripped of their citizenship?
Well, no one's left stateless because it will be against international law to leave anyone stateless. So there's not a single one of them are stateless.
Bangladesh does not claim Shamima Begum as one of its citizens.
Bangladesh can say what it's like. We follow the law in this country, including international law, and that's why, as I say, this decision itself was tested to the limit, to the highest court in the land, and they agreed with the decision that I made unanimously.
We saw some of the evidence that was passed across your desk that you saw because it was leaked to the newspapers, and there's no reason to think that what we read and what we read out during the interview wasn't the stuff that you read when you were making your decision. For example, allegations that she was seen by multiple witnesses stitching terrorists into their suicide vests in such a way that they couldn't ever get out of them until, or if they tried, they would detonate. There were specific witness statements which you saw. She totally denies that. She says it's completely made up. It's been made up in order to discredit her and to keep her out of the country. And she repeatedly denied ever doing any such thing. Are you fully confident that her denials on this programme this morning were false denials and that actually she did do the things that you read about in the evidence that you considered?
I'm not going to get into details of the case, but what I will say is that you certainly haven't seen what I saw.
So there was worse?
You haven't seen what I saw.
Okay.
So you maintain there is a national security risk?
Let me say this. I think if you did...
I didn't know.
If you did know what I knew, as I say, because you are sensible, responsible people, you would have made exactly the same decision. Of that, I have no doubt.
So Shamima Begum remains in
a
refugee camp, a holding camp in Syria,
indefinitely.
And that is her fate indefinitely.
The government continues to put the priority of the British people and to protect them as it's one of its number one issues.
Okay, very quickly.
Wow.
Got a plan A and a plan B.
At all.
we've got a plan A and a plan B. Are you happy? You happy with it seems to be a sort of a compromise which looking at the opinion polls this morning, most people are reasonably comfortable with. How do you feel about it?
Look, I think it's the responsible approach here. Right now, as we head into autumn and winter, we know that COVID sort of likes that condition. We know flu and other viruses like that part of the year. So I think it's right we set out how we're going to tackle the challenges that lie ahead. Our vaccines are our first line of defense. They're doing an amazing job. We've also got new treatments for COVID that we didn't have a year ago.
Yeah, but look, what I don't understand about this COVID thing as well is we're having the vaccinations, right? We're taking these vaccinations like everyone's telling us to. Most people are. But there's still people dying. There's still people dying of coronavirus. And I don't know if that's because they're not wearing masks, half of them. It can't just be that. But I think that's a big part of it, I think, is, say, if you go into a shop or a store, wear a mask, man. Just wear. I went into a shop yesterday to buy food, and I think I was wearing a mask just because. Saw probably 3 other people wearing a mask, but everyone else was like, nah, not wearing a mask. But then the people that worked there are wearing masks. I don't understand how it's set out. I don't really get it. I understand it's like that for most parts of the world, from what I've seen. I don't really get it. I don't think some people don't. The thing is as well, some people don't care, some people care, some people care a whole lot. There's 3 different sides. I'd say I'm on the I care. I'd cared a lot. Now I just care. But there's some people out there, it feels like, whether they care or not, but it seems like they just think, it won't happen to me, it'll be alright, kind of thing. Whereas I've known quite a few people, I'd say, that have gone through COVID. And even my best friend's gone through COVID. He's had it quite bad. And there are some people out there that it's kind of just like, it won't happen to me, I'm a geezer kind of thing, but men still get it and die of it as well. So that's the thing.
We've got an amazing testing system. We've got a world-class surveillance system. So those are our major defences. And yesterday I also announced that with the vaccination programme, we're going to do even more around uptake, but especially the new booster programme, which will start next week for 30 million people over the age of 50. And also this week we started an offer for 12 to 15-year-olds. So I think taken together, we absolutely have the right plan. But what you just referred to as Plan B is our contingency planning, just in case. I think it's right for a government to think ahead. If things went the other way unexpectedly, then I think we would want to react and respond quickly, and I just think that's the responsible thing to do.
What's your gut? This is a question I'd ask you if I bumped into you at a party or something. What's your gut? Do you think this time next year this will all be behind us and we'll be back to normal?
I'd love to bump into you in a party. That's the first thing. So please do invite me if you get the opportunity. But I think that will it all be behind us next year? No. I mean, COVID is with us for years. It's probably with us forever. We're going to have to learn to live with COVID in the same way we've had to learn with other viruses like flu. I'm not suggesting it's like flu at all, but in the way that we learn to live with viruses. And I think that vaccinations are with us for a long time, not necessarily for everyone, but I don't think we should pretend that COVID will just disappear one day. But
why is it not for everyone? I don't understand. Why are you saying that? I thought you're promoting that everyone should take it, but you've just said, oh, not everyone. So this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, right, man? Some people are about it, some people ain't about it. And I understand. I do understand, but also at the same time, if you want to go anywhere in this world, you need to have it. For instance, I saw a show not that long ago for my birthday. I went and saw a show. You needed to be vaccinated to get on there and have everything like on your phone to show. You needed that. If you didn't have it, you're not going to get on. You're not getting on. Whether you paid for it or not, you're not getting on. And I understand that. And I think that's a good thing to put in place for people to find out whether they've had the vaccination, i.e. are protected. I think that's a good thing. So him saying that, I don't know what he's mean. I don't know what he means, sorry.
We'll learn to live with it and look how much we've returned back to normal.
Sorry, we're in danger of painting a rosy picture, which I just think is out of kilter with the facts. We have 1,000 hospitalisations a day. Deaths are going up. Infections are 10 times what they were this time last year. And where's your threshold for Plan B? This isn't going away. It's getting, for many people, this is getting worse.
Yeah, the difference between now and this time last year, I mean, there's a lot of differences, but the biggest one is the vaccination program. We didn't have vaccines at all this time last year.
Unfortunately, infections are going up.
Yeah.
Well, hospitalizations are up, but they are mercifully low compared to what we've seen in the past. Death rates are even lower. And let me just to share with your viewers, I thought this was startling when we learned this just a couple of days ago. The ONS reported that if you look at all the deaths from COVID in the UK in the first 6 months of this year, that 99% of those people that sadly died from COVID were unvaccinated. So that's the power of vaccines, and that's why we need to get more people to take up vaccine. If there's anyone watching this...
There was a lot of people that died. Unfortunately, there was too many people that died of COVID. It was horrible. It was horrible. Thank God anyone that I was close to didn't die of COVID. Thank God. Touch wood. But, yeah, it was definitely a lot worse than it is now, but I think it's getting back up there, to be quite honest. And what I don't understand is the fact that we've had these vaccinations and all that. It's still a thing, which I thought being vaccinated got rid of it. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously I'm wrong. But I think we need to... I don't know what we can do. I think we came up with the vaccination too quick, if you ask me. Too quick. It was. I remember when it happened. Oh, there's a vaccination now. There's a vaccination. We're going to get vaccinated soon. All of it's going to go. It will be behind us. But it's not, is it? It's just not at all.
This right now that hasn't had a vaccine that is eligible, please do take it. You're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting those around you. The vaccines are working, and that's the difference.
Minister, you have answered the questions, but nevertheless, interview terminated. Because only because we're out of time.